fellas. Welcome to the Brothers in Influence podcast, where we stand to encourage, inspire, and add value to Black men in the areas of life, leadership, and community. I'm here. My name is Ian Williams, your purpose coach. It is Saturday, February 26, 2022. Man, I hope you woke up and smelled the coffee this morning because we're ready to go. Listen, we got a couple guys on here, major players. They hold a couple titles. I'd probably forget them if I tried to name them all. They got the credentials. I'll just say that. So let me get out the way and let them introduce themselves, so I don't mess it up.
Well, my credentials for today is tied. Tied. But somebody got to do it, right? So I am Shawte Price. I'm your thought coach, because we have to realize that thoughts become things, right? That's the process. That's how it works, because you can't have anything you can't visualize to manifest in your life. I'm excited to be alongside these great men, also the men that's in the background supporting us as we talk about life, leadership, and community, and on a mission to help others like us transition and transform from career to calling.
I don't know, something about that that transform. It hit me. Hey, you need to put that on the shirt though. What did you say? You the thought coach, because what thoughts become
things. Yeah,
I'm gonna need you to put that on the shirt, player. You need to wear that. Thoughts become things. Hey, yeah. So hey, this is Sherrod Ledet. I missed you guys last week, but hey, my brothers killed the game. Shante, hey, dog. I think we gotta let Shante just do his own thing, bro. He was in here getting it. You kept throwing them lobs, and he was just like, okay, well, hold on. So, I loved it. But hey, man, it's Sherrod Ledet, your leadership locksmith, aka the professor, also known as the growth coach of Greater Lexington, here with my brothers for another episode 4. That's right, because I was my math's a little off this morning. Yeah, episode 4. Yeah, my math's off a little. I need another cup of coffee. But hey, yeah, I'm excited to be here today. Again, missed you guys last week. But hey, my girl was doing her thing though, right? I appreciate the shout outs, right? The love that was passed. But yeah, she did her thing. She ended up 5th. So we thought she was gonna have to have another one this weekend, but they didn't end up going. Or maybe it was last weekend. I don't know, bro. It just seems like these weeks be running together. And then the fact that you said like we're literally going into March next week. Like March 1st is Tuesday next week. Like, we're almost through the first quarter. That's crazy to me. But say love you.
While you talking about me, I gotta let everybody know. I learned that stuff from the leadership locksmith.
Here he goes.
Last week I was just saying, what would the locksmith say?
Hey, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So here we are, fellas. It's episode 4. We're coming to the end of the month.
Yeah, and I'm gonna cut you off. My bad, brother. Because here's the thing.
What's on your heart?
Yeah, well, because like Doc, you come in, you do the introductions beautifully. I can't that's your thing. I ain't gonna take that from there. You do that. Then you pass it on to us. And then you just roll into the thing. Like, I need you to come back, man. Come back. So my man, right? So I'm gonna try to do my Ian Williams, right? Our fearless leader, right? So I'm standing or sitting right now. I'm sitting. I'm not standing. So I'm sitting shoulder to shoulder with these two amazing gentlemen. We already heard from my man Shawte Price, but we got to hear from the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, right? Ian Williams, brother. Hey, tell us who you are, man.
Yeah, so first of all, my name is Ian Williams, and I'm your friend. I'll just put it like that, man. I'm They call me the purpose coach. We out here doing our thing. What Toby says, making purpose popular. So I'll tag him real quick. My man Toby and Wiggley says we make purpose popular. So yeah, man. It's been a great week for me, man. Busy, man. Trying to get this business drummed up, but I'm not having to work too hard. I'm trying to work smart, and so I was up at a conference yesterday with a lot of HR professionals, and it was just a vibe, man. Usually when we think of human resources, we think folks might be uptight. You know what I'm saying? Those are people that you get in trouble with. But when they in the element, with their community, they cool, man. They real laid back, and they're really passionate about people. I think that's the thing. That's the thing, and so that people don't really get outside of that point of reference.
Yeah. Hey, you say that, it made me even think, and I'm my bad, man. He's
good.
back. Right? He's back. He's ready to cut. Hey, so I wonder, like, so if we were to get a whole bunch of HR professionals in the room, or get them all to take the DISC assessment, right? I wonder what everyone's eye would look like. Because you're right. I mean, and the last thing that, if I could just even think about, the late Jack Welch, right? The GE way. Like, one of the things he says, because he talked about, again, how, when we talk about just management and leadership, and that, again, kind of the traditional framework and structure or hierarchy within an organization is always the CEO, the COO, the CFO, and then somewhere along the line then comes in like the HR type person. And I love how Jack always did it. He believed what he believed, and that's how it went. But he said, no, it should be the CEO and then your HR, right? Because he was focused on people. He was focused on people. He said, like, even in any decision and business strategy that he was looking at, he's like, the strategy is great, but it's the people. So instead of talking to how much money and the operations, he's like, man, hey, what? I need to have a conversation with my HR person. Like, what does this look like? How's this going to impact people? Right? My bad, bro. I didn't mean to cut, but it just popped in my head when you said that, and I'm like, wow, that's so. But you was at the conference, HR people, y'all was getting it in.
Yeah, no, man. I'm just saying, like, in the element, what I'm saying, you get a certain vibe from them in the office space. But when they're in the element, man, they what they really care about and what they're really about really shines through. And so, yeah, man, it was a great time. Made a lot of good connections there. But this is kind of what we're talking about. I guess it's the lead up, right? I never thought I would have found myself in a space like that. 5-10 years ago, I couldn't have said, I'm gonna be at the HR state conference in 2022. I could never imagine it. But because we are in pursuit of purpose. We're purpose driven folks. What I found, the reason what led me there was alignment. It's simple as that. Pursuing my own purpose, as someone who adds value, who's a builder of people, an encourager of people, stepping into spaces where I'm teaching, training, consulting. There was a direct line there that I would not have recognized were it not for this journey, were it not for finding my own community, finding my tribe, and pursuing what I feel like I'm called and created to do. So now that I've navigated that space, I realize, once you're on that journey, you realize how natural things begin to come. You know what I'm saying? Where 5 or 10 years ago, I not only would have not thought that I would be in that space, I probably, if I would have been introduced to the idea, I'd be like, man, that don't seem like somewhere I belong. That don't seem like somewhere that I would be comfortable. That don't seem like somewhere where I would fit in. And I would be completely wrong as of today. because of me being in alignment with who and what I feel like God created me to do, and being clear on my values. And because I'm values driven, instead of being belief driven, because the beliefs I had 5, 10 years ago, they wouldn't have served me well today. Right.
Yes,
And so
sir.
if my identity was in those beliefs, then I would be on the struggle bus right now trying to reconcile the two things. But because my identity is more intimately connected to my values, I can release those beliefs and find a way forward. And here I am, post conference, feeling good, having made some connections, and hopefully in a position to really, set my business up for success in regards to like the right relationships. So
Yeah. So pursuing your purpose. I was thinking about a scripture, kind of modernizing it, but pursuing your purpose will make room for you,
mhm.
right? Pursuing your purpose will make room for you and bring you before great people, right?
Mm,
That's what I heard you saying, and that's why you are where you are today. And you said it. You said that old way of thinking, it wouldn't have you where you are today.
mhm.
And it gets back to what you say, your values. That old way of thinking, you had values at that point,
Right.
but when the path you were on, you had to make some decisions about those values. Are they going to help you on this journey you're on?
Mhm.
So I just want to throw it out there because I just heard when I heard you speaking, it was you were speaking your passion, right?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm here today because I was somebody at one point in time, and I made some decisions about who I was and where I wanted to be and where I wanted to go. And now I'm there because of those decisions.
Right. And the thing about it is like I didn't even know. I didn't even know the implications of the decisions I was making, like how
Yeah.
deep they would, you know, like the ripples in the in the pond when you throw the rock in, bro. It's like, oh man, I'm just trying to figure it out. And uh, so I wouldn't have known what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't have known that this is where I wanted to be or where I should be.
Mm.
But because of the decision I made, decisions I began to make, and then finding that alignment, I am being guided, you know, to certain to where I should be. And that's powerful, especially I think for me, where I spent a lot of my years, like, under wrestling with analysis paralysis or the need to know how to do things,
Mm.
right? And so even if I would have thought like, oh well, it would be cool to show up in that space with this community who's got these credentials and this credibility, but how do I get from where I am to there? And I wouldn't have done anything about it, or I would have just felt like, oh, that's not for me. But on the flip side of that, by focusing on my values instead of my beliefs, right, it allowed me to shed those limiting beliefs and navigate forward in a way that led me there, even though I didn't realize that's where I was going to end up being. But because I was focused on the pursuit of the purpose and the pursuit of alignment, um, I'm looking up and finding myself in spaces like, man, you know what? But I didn't see it. I didn't see it coming, but I'm here now, and so and I feel good about it too. Like, you know,
Hey, can Sherrod, I know you finna go, but I don't got I'm not at the studio, so Ian, I need you to hit that button for me. Hit that applause button for me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought we was closing, bro, because you just
Man,
murdered it. Bro,
he
you
laid it
murdered
on
it.
thick, didn't he?
Yeah, I love it though, man. I love you, brothers, because
That's an easy clip for me.
yeah, absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
just trying.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to throw Sherrod a lob. That's all.
throw me a lie, brother. I don't know what to do. Both of y'all came in killing, man. But again, this is why this is why I love you guys. This is why I love this community. So again, those that are watching, man, this is brothers and influence, man. We have a community. The reason why we have the community is because of what Ian just said, right? Like purpose, right? And it's funny, and I don't know, guys just playing with me, which he probably is because he's real good. Me and him have a really unique relationship. He be laughing at a brother though. So I was just in a call before this one, right? Kobe came up, and then my man dropped Kobe again, right? And it was funny because he in the first call he basically said, "Hey, what's the one word that you when I say the word or the name Kobe Bryant, what's the one word that comes to mind?" So everybody said what they said, but the one thing what I put in there, which was kind of to me when I looked at the list of words, it was different, right? And it just kind of stood out to me. But the one word I used was knowledge, and the reason why I use knowledge is because, to your point, Ian, about purpose, is that again, like I'm a sports person, but I'm not a sports person. I don't follow everybody. I don't, watch all the sports. I mean, I like watching it, but I just don't know everybody, all the stats, all this. That's just not what I do. But one of my students turned me on to Kobe from the perspective. He said, just from our business class, he was like, "Man, I want you to listen to something about Kobe." He's like, I think you would enjoy it. So I listened to the clip, and basically it was Kobe just talking about, again, the knowledge of basketball and what that opened up for him. So back to what you were saying, Ian, about purpose. And here's what I gained from that clip, and why I share that is that he talked about, again, that once basketball became the thing that he did, that was his purpose, the world became his library. That's why I said knowledge, because when I heard him say that, and I continue to even think about that, bro, the world is literally my library when it comes to leadership, because it really is. He looked through his lens of basketball, but he could apply it to any and everything. So even for you, when you were talking about purpose, right? And I was over here taking notes. I grabbed what I could, and I'm over here taking notes because I'm like, bruh, because you talked about alignment, you talked about building people, you were talking about teaching, consulting. Then you jumped down and you were like, and here's the reason why I said it, because you said you went to a place where you felt as if you didn't belong, or you never thought that you would ever get there or see yourself there. Dog, like, let's think about that for a minute. Like, really, really, really digest that and think about that. Grab that, because we all been there. We all are there. There's been some rooms and some conversations that I had, and I'm like, bro, why am I here?
Right.
Who am I to have that conversation? I never thought that I would be in that room or with that. That's one of the things that drives my wife crazy. She's like, dude, why do you belittle yourself? But it's something that we do. Now we do it. I don't think we always do it intentionally. And I don't even think it's always about belittling ourselves, but it is about purpose. It's about alignment, right? Because once you identify what it is you do, Kobe Bryant, aka basketball, he saw everything based on his purpose of how he could use basketball to be Kobe Bryant. Right? Then you said beliefs and identity. Right? You said, like, it's funny because you said 5 years ago, if I would have thought or used my belief to get me to where I was, it wouldn't have happened, because your belief system wasn't there, or at least your belief and thought process of yourself wasn't complete. But it was until you aligned yourself with your values that then connected to your purpose that you were then able to start opening doors. Now, I'm an AKA leadership locksmith, bro. You done gave me a key. You gave me a key. Right? Because now it's all about, okay, so how do I use the key of alignment, the key of purpose, to then open the door? And then you said identity connected to my values. Come on. So it's you now see yourself based on the values that you know and believe to be yours, because they now connect to your purpose. That's how you're able to build people, because now you're allowing your values with your purpose, and then help other people to then align their values and purpose with what they believe.
Exactly.
Right? So then you're teaching and consulting based on values, and purpose, giving them a clear understanding. I'm just saying. There's my lie.
Oh man. That's the thing, bro. I think there's a lot of meat there. Beliefs versus values, right? I think the natural tendency is to establish identity within beliefs. But here's the problem. Beliefs change, bro. Beliefs change. And that's only more and more significant the older you get, bro. There's stuff
like
that I
the
believe,
wind.
just like Paul said, when I was a child, I thought like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And there's so many things that I believed as a child that would not serve me well today. There's so many, and not only that, but just on my journey, even as an adult, I can say in the last month, last 12 months, last year, there are things that I've had to change my beliefs about because I was presented with different information. And so if my identity was really rooted in my beliefs, where would that leave me? I wouldn't know who I was. And I would be struggling. Like, can you imagine like the degree of frustration I would have if I was just so tied to what I believe? I thought something at one point in time. Now I'm presented with new information. It changes changes how I thought. Like, right? Because if my identity was rooted in my belief that I would never see myself at a conference with those sorts of professionals, then I would literally never allow myself to show up in that space. Even if granted the opportunity, if it was mentioned in my airspace, I wouldn't even be open to it. And so that's one of the things that I feel like God has really helped me mature in not really, being flexible in my thinking, being adaptable, being able to grow. I mean, that's right. Like, we're leaders and learners. You know what I'm saying? So if it whatever served me well last year in my belief may not serve me well this year, especially because I'm being introduced to new things, new people, new cultures, new communities, new spaces. So I got to go in there willing to learn and not walk in like I've already got it figured out. Like my beliefs are what they are, and then they can stay that way. And realizing that, and then choosing to root my identity instead in my values, it frees me up to navigate the space. Like I'm not limited. And because if I walked in the space with the belief, my beliefs would probably betray me. However, I walk in the space with my values, I'm able to show up as my full authentic self. I'm able to deliver and add the value that I have available to me to do, but also walk away with the value that others are able to add to me.
Man, whoo. Gotta let that marinate, man. Beliefs and values. Your beliefs change, but your values should not change. Because when your values change, they were never true values, right? And I love how you differentiate the two, because oftentimes people are calling beliefs values.
Yeah.
Right. They're called. I'm a prime example of it. But let's go back to you said you mentioned the scripture of what Paul said. When I was a child, I thought like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And what's one of the things we initially have to teach our kids how to share, right? Right, because this is mine. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. But so that belief is it's mine. I don't have to share it. But we're trying to instill in them a value of sharing, right? A value of allowing others to utilize something you may have, right? We're trying to teach them some principles. And while you were talking, man, I just went back to my life, brother. And just thinking about how I had these values in me that my mother had taught me about loving people and helping people. Yet my belief, uh, which I learned based on not having a father and really not having that male figure in my life. So my belief it was that I needed to be a part of a group, any type of group, to satisfy that void in my heart,
Mm.
right? And so what did that lead to? Even though I knew the values my mother had taught me about doing the right thing and things like that, I allowed my belief to supersede that. And what happened? I began to get in trouble. I began to skip school. I began to do things totally contrary to the values I was taught because I believed that the beliefs that I could I would feel better and I would be better by associating with this group of people. Now, what happened? Still knew the importance of these values. So now I'm in a situation where I'm selling drugs and I'm womanizing and all these things, breaking the law, don't
Mm.
have a license, driving, all these different things, right? And but yet the values that was imparted to me were still there. I'm trying to in a in a sinful situation, in an evil situation, I'm trying to interject these values that's totally contrary to it, right? And it don't work.
Mm.
It don't work. They're contrary. It doesn't work. And man, it just when you was talking, bro, I just went back, man. I just went back and I'm like, wow. It's like I was getting it, but then that thought came, just my life flashing and saying, wow, how powerful is that how powerful to be able to break that down and share that with somebody so that they can have that a moment like that and say, wow, I get it. Man, powerful.
Bro, I appreciate you sharing that, man. It's by grace, man. I think I could say that for both of us, that we are who we are today. Honestly, it's by grace, and so we've been graced to navigate this journey and to figure out what it really means to go from a career to calling. And whether it's interesting because when I make that statement, most people think about like what it looks like to go from a 9 to 5 to maybe their dream job or whatever. But it's actually bigger than that. It's actually bigger than that. And I think what you just shared kind of highlighted that for me. My career prior to this, uh, I made a career of having low self esteem.
Mm.
I made a career of you know not of a lack of confidence in myself and what I who I thought I was called to be. I made a career of people pleasing. You know what I'm saying? Now I literally left a corporate space and now I'm in my own business. But like the essence of the spirit of it really like it's more than you just changing vocations. It's more than me just going from a biweekly paycheck to trying to working on build and hire and run a company. Um, it's going from a career, a life rooted in limiting beliefs or just an overall whack belief system to one to where I now understand who I am and have a greater vision of who I can still become even. Um, and then just walking it out and not being under the pressure of I need to know the steps or how do I become this and that, but just focusing on the journey and and serving not only those around me but myself. Right? I'm now taking stock of myself. I'm managing my emotional, mental, physical wellness. And it's a holistic thing, you know. I just think that's beautiful because when we talk about our faith and which is one of our values, um, we serve the God we serve is a God of whole persons.
Mm. Yeah. So well, we got deep real quick too. Like out the gate, we just came in like black. So man, I have to. I got some more notes, right? So y'all brothers are killing me. So the different information, right? And I love the fact that you brought that up and said new information, because literally that's what happens. That's how you grow your values, but then that's how your beliefs change too. Is based on the information that you get. But it's not just having the information; it's the application of the information. Right now, we're talking about evolution, because I can't evolve if I don't, or I'm not going to say that. You can evolve, and we are evolving, but the evolution is really based on our ability to get information, how we apply the information, and then we apply it to our purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And then, like you were even saying that again, now I love it because I always said that, evolution is the application of information, where elevation is the implementation of information. So when we apply or when we implement, meaning that we take action on the information, then we can elevate ourselves to another level. But my man Ian brought in the fact that, again, with information, then my value, right? Or even can I even say my value proposition at that particular point changes based on the information, meaning that now my value can grow, giving me more access. Right. And it made me even think about what you said earlier about, throwing the rock in the pond, right? And the ripple effect. Right. And the thing about it is there's two things we got to consider when we throw a rock in the pond. One, the size of the rock. The bigger the rock, the bigger the ripples.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other aspect we got to think of is how far the ripples are going to go. That's going to be based on the size of the rock thrown, but it's also going to depend on how big the lake is. Because the waves or the ripples are only going to go as far as until it hits something, until it hits the bank. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like, do you see that? I see it. Like, if I throw, so I look at the stone being that of my beliefs or my values. Like, so I could throw my stone of belief into the pond, and then boom, there goes my ripples. Yep. Or I could throw my stone or rock of value, which should be that greater than my belief, meaning that I'm gonna have bigger ripples that are gonna go further. But I also have to be paying attention to make sure that the impact that I'm looking to have, that I throw it in a big pond. That way I can make sure the ripple effect can carry, the value can be carried, and the impact can be great.
Hit that button for me, brother. Hit that button for me.
Yeah. And I love when you brought it and you jumped right into it, Ian, when you were talking about it, because I loved how you said that, we can show up to a space or we can show up to a room. And I love that because immediately I thought about, well, I don't want people to think about showing up in the physical more so than my showing up authentically. Mm-hmm. I can be there and not be there.
Right.
I can be present, but that doesn't mean that I'm present. Meaning in the moment, meaning I'm bringing my authentic self to the room, so to speak. So let's not just show up, but let's show up in our true authentic self unapologetically.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I believe what we're talking this morning is we're talking on the subject of wisdom. We're talking on the and so, but what I want to tell those of us that are rocking with us right now, like, this is wisdom, this is lived experience. When Sherrod talks about how to apply knowledge, that's how I've always like the ability to apply knowledge. That's how I've always defined wisdom. But we are like one of our mentors, Chris Robinson, says we're a product of the product, right? Like I wouldn't be where I was yesterday in that space with those professionals, with those credentials, that education, if I wouldn't be on this journey if I hadn't been on this journey from career to calling, if I wasn't genuinely passionate about making purpose popular, if I wasn't genuinely passionate about my pursuit of purpose, I wouldn't be in that space. And you know what? I'm finding like I used to listen. No, I don't say used to listen. I listened to a guy by the name of Eric Thomas. I know you guys are familiar with E.T., the hip hop preacher,
Who's
number one motivational
right.
speaker in the world, right? Okay, so I used to hear him talk about how on his journey he eventually went out and got his PhD, and how at some point he didn't think he needed it. Like he's being himself and all of this and that, and as he started showing up in spaces with people who supposed to know more, who are supposed to be doing more, he began to recognize that that was an aspect of his journey that wasn't appreciated. Like, who was he to come in this space when I have more education than him? Who is he to come talk and deliver this because I'm certified in such and such, and who is he? Who is this guy? And so he navigated that, and the cool thing about it is when he did eventually go get his doctorate, but it wasn't necessarily in response to that. It was because it was in alignment with his purpose. He went out and pursued the degree because he said that this is where God is taking me. I'm going to need the acumen. I'm going to need, my talk. That talk I talk is good now, but I need it to go to another level because there's going to be places I'm navigating to where they still won't respect me because I'm gonna show up and be myself, right? I'm gonna show up with my jeans and my cap, and I'm gonna show up with my, my swag and all of that. But they ain't gonna be able to buck against me because now I got the education. But most importantly, it aligned with who I am and where I believe I'm going. And so, showing up. I went there because Sherrod was talking about showing up authentically. Showing up authentically. We're not showing up in these spaces in response to whatever reaction we get, but we're showing up because it aligns with who we are. And so when I'm in that space, like I already know, there's certain credentials and things that I don't have, and people will question like, oh, what is he doing here? How is he qualified to speak on that subject? Or or certain people be like, oh, he's probably making it up because he ain't gone to such and such, which is not true, and I know that. But I'm going to show up anyway, and I'm going to be who I am because I'm walking in alignment with my purpose. And that's the difference. If I was rooted in my beliefs wouldn't have allowed me to function that way. My beliefs would have limited me. They would have said, oh, well, you need to shut it down and wait until you get the degree or the credential and then come back. But everything that I've done and everything I am up to this point has already brought me here. And so I'm going to show up. I'm going to add value from who I am. And they're going to be like, oh, I never would have thought he didn't have that. I never would have thought it. And now I'm kind of mad. I'm kind of mad that I learned that I got that value. And I'm going to let him be mad. And I'm going to a journey of alignment. Now, if that leads to some credentials and other education down the road, that's fine. But it ain't going to be because of that.
Dude, I love that. And I was trying to think, and I'm gonna leave that alone because I can't think of how I want to say that. But so when you said that, you brought up that whole ET and that the fact that he went and got his doctorate not in response to the hate. Yeah, but So, and even in that, and I mean, he talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
But what came to mind, so I taught last Sunday from the scripture of Second Peter, verse 2 through 11.
Mm-hmm.
And in that verse, there's a portion that I want to pull out, and it was really the kind of the foundation of what I was speaking on. And it talks in that scripture about how God has given us everything we need for whatever purpose that he's given us, right? He's given us everything that we need, but he said that we need to supplement our faith with knowledge with self-control, self-control with, and so forth, right? But the word was supplement. So when you said, again, he went and got it, not because they told him to or in response to, it was just a supplement. He was already bad without it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he got it, what you gonna say now?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, because he don't even go and talk about that. Like he don't even go by like Dr. Eric Thomas. He goes by Eric Thomas, E.T. He don't even bring it up. Right? But again, he supplements it. Oh, he uses it. You can tell it in his whole presentation, right? That he is educated and he knows what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like, because if he would have listened to the hate, or if I would have listened to the hate or whatever these folks' concerns are may or may not be, then I would have adopted that as a belief.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I would be navigating according to that belief. Which I don't think can end up any other way than delaying the journey, delaying the manifestation of your purpose and your calling. But when you navigate with an alignment, we can. I may or may not go ahead and get that doctorate, but we're gonna keep it moving, and I'm still gonna get to where I need to go, and I'm still gonna be showing up in these spaces. People can be confused or otherwise, and I might pick it up along the way, not even say nothing.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, this even goes to preparation too. So it's all about preparation, like getting the knowledge and the information, man. Like again, so hey, y'all listening to us, right? The Brothers Influence podcast. Like it may sound like we're all over the place, but we're not. You gotta listen and pay attention. We're talking about purpose and alignment, right? So when you're listening to this now, hopefully you're taking notes. If you're coming back to listen to it, get your pen. I know we're kind of already into it, but go back, rewind it, and take some notes. Right? Because here's what we can tell you in our journey, right? And Ian brought that up a couple of times. And that's literally what we've been talking about is our experiences in our journey, because that's the only way we can really authentically talk about what it is we're talking about with passion and purpose and alignment is through our experiences. Right. But what we can tell you is that our experiences have led us to know and understand that in the journey to success, it's not a straight line. It's not a straight line. It's all over the place. You might have to pivot. You may have to turn. You may have to stop. You may have to jump. You may have to run. You may have to, you name it, you're going to have to do it. But that's part of the process, right? That's where the experience, that's where the growth comes into play. That's where all the new information is found, right? Where now you can apply it, where your values then grow, your beliefs then start changing and adapting to the value system that is now a part of more your belief than it. Like all those different things come together when you just take on the journey. Now here's the thing, the journey is going to be hard, but I'm telling you, that's why you need to be connected to a community like Brothers in Influence. We've been there, we've done that, we're doing that, we're going through it. This is where we are. We would love, and we are sharing our story with you. We will continue to do that, but we would love for you to connect with us and share your story. Look, I tell my students all the time, I hope to teach you something. As much as I hope to teach you something, I know I'm going to learn from you. I never go into a classroom thinking that I'm never going to learn anything from my students. They have experiences too. That's where the knowledge comes in. That's the wisdom, right? That Ian was talking about. That again, that's really what knowledge is, wisdom. Like it's just the accumulation of wisdom or knowledge over time and time. Man, start grabbing that stuff, putting it in your pocket. Pull it out when you want to, Write it down. Go back and read it. I'm telling y'all, get me off this thing, boy. Love it.
So I always say, knowledge is consumed, wisdom is dispensed, right? Because there's a lot of people that are knowledgeable about things, but they're unwilling to share. So, and even when you talk about ET, he went and got that degree because of his values, not because of the beliefs surrounding what he's done, right?
Say that again. Say that again, and make sure you pull it out when you clip that. Clip that. pull that out.
And that's, once again, that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're sharing our stories. That's why we want others to be able to share their stories. If a community is only as powerful as its members, and this is the Brothers Influence community, and we want people that's a part of this community to, and I said it before, right? We don't want you to just be a part of another group that you're not engaging. We want you to engage. I need you. That's why I'm here. I need you. I might be sharing things that you, or we might be sharing things that you can utilize, but we need you. And Sherrod said it, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of students have come across teachers who think they know everything, right? Because they're not willing to learn. But all the best teachers are willing to learn, because at any given time, a student's perspective can change your understanding of what you know.
Come on, bro.
And it happens every time.
Yeah.
So, but if you're unwilling, or if you're not willing to what's the word I want to say, to step aside from yourself, right? Yourself, and allow somebody to speak into your life. I one thing I used to always say when I was teaching a Bible study, sharing stuff with people, I would tell people, I would thank them. I say, thank you for allowing me to speak into your life, because you don't have to allow me. Right? You don't have to allow me. But us as a group, we want to be, for us to be effective, we need the group members to share their stories, engage, and let us know who you are and what you do.
Right.
So that we can all grow.
So, exactly. That's the key. So we can all grow. You know, I was teaching on diversity just a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about how the greater the perspective, the clearer the picture. And the only way to a degree,
clip.
I can another clip. To a degree, you know, I can increase my perspective, right? There's things my awareness can expand, but because I'm only a human, right? I'm a finite individual that can only go so far. But when I attach my perspective to Brother Shaltay's perspective, and he attaches his perspective to Brother Sherrod's perspective, the picture only becomes clearer. I can see a part, Shaltay sees a part, Sherrod sees a part. The picture expands. Now, where all three of us are more aware than we were prior. So when we invite you guys into the community and in the spirit of what Shaltay said, that we can all grow, we're just inviting you along to connect your perspective so that we can all see the picture much more clearly.
Man, just join the conversation, because that's all we're having is a conversation. And I love it, man. Oh, God. So I'm gonna say this. Like your Shaltay, man, please go back and pull that out. Right, go back and pull that out. And then you better pull out what you said about ET and then that whole value and the whole thing. But go back and listen, you figure it out, pull it out. But this is what I want you to know. Like, so this whole conversation, knowledge, information, wisdom, and stuff, man, you know, the interesting thing, like, because a lot of stuff, you know, just even from my perspective as a teacher, and I don't know if anybody's listening and y'all peep game, like Shaltay said when I was teaching, Ian said when I was teaching, I said when I was teaching, Like you in a room full of teachers, right?
Yeah.
But it's based on information. But listen. One of the things, and I teach business, a lot of business in the information and the education is around a lot of theory. A lot of theory. But it's when you implement experiences that you can then take that theory and expand it. Either it's going to allow you to see the theory and the application of it, right, in a whole nother way. You can then start, it's like a Rubik's Cube, right? You can start turning it and matching colors and all that, because now you have additional information, right? You got new information that you now can apply. And the thing that, Ian, you said it, right? Your perspective then could be connected to Shantae's, and then to mine. Me and my mom were having a conversation, and she brought up this whole concept of knowledge. And she said the same thing you said, Shantae, to the effect of, it's interesting how we try to hoard it, keep it, but don't want to share it like it's ours. And this is what the conversation basically came out to. I told my mom, I was like, that's funny. Because one of the things I'm starting to learn and understand that nothing belongs to me. All things belong to God. All knowledge and information is God's. Right? And if I could just even get you to expand a little bit further, I'm not just referring to the Bible. Like, again, just because all these great people came up with these great things, don't think that was them being great. That was God being great in them and brought the greatness out of them. And I say that to say is because even with the three of us on here speaking and talking, there's one more in it, right? Where two are gathered, right, in my name, I will be amongst. So again, in any type of conversation, when it's a true, authentic conversation, what I'm saying is that our knowledge is our knowledge. But when you bring in and you're really speaking and trying to pour in, God then steps into that whole thing and this brings in a whole his infinite knowledge, his design purpose becomes a part of that whole conversation. There'd be things, but I guarantee you, we go back and look to listen to this, we'd be like, well, where'd that come from? It wasn't us. I'm not that smart. I'll just be honest. I'm not that smart. Yeah, but I'm available. I make myself available. I wasn't trying to preach, my bad, y'all.
Absolutely.
No, bro.
So I know we finna. I almost forgot about this the last day before the Black History Month. So if I could, gentlemen, real quick, give me a date. Give me a date. It could be your birth date.
Okay, I give you my birthday.
What
11/15/1979.
So November 15.
1979.
All right. So
no, I'm not old.
Oh, you young, man.
I'm seasoned. I'm marinating.
You say 15, right?
Yep, November 15th, 1979.
All right. So just a Black History fact, because we kept talking about Black History, we didn't get nothing done, but because we had such a good time this month. All right. John Mercer Langston, lawyer, educator, U.S. Congressman, civil rights activist, 1829 to 1897. John Mercer Langston was born on December 14th, 1829, to a formerly enslaved mother and a slave owner, Ralph Quarles, in Virginia. Quarles freed his mother in 1806 after the death of his parents in 1834. Langston was sent to Cincinnati, Ohio, to live with friends of his father. In 1839, William Gooch. In 1899, Gooch planned to move to a slave state of Missouri. A court battle ensued to stop the move for fear of the young John could be enslaved. As a result, Langston was raised by an abolitionist named Richard Long. Graduating from Abilene in 1849 from a theological department, he returned to Abilene and graduated in 1854 for the college's School of Law and was admitted to the bar. Elected to the Liberty Party ticket in 1855 as a clerk of the township of Brownsham, Ohio, was marked the first time that a black man was elected to public office in America. So John Mercer Langston. So just a Black history fact, just something to throw out there because we didn't get too much of Black history this season. But go ahead.
Yeah, you know I'm slow, but I'm waiting on. So that happened on my birthday?
No,
That what you trying to tell me?
Some of the stuff does happen on them dates, but I just got a calendar. It's just a Black history calendar. I got some Black history cards too, but I was gonna have. So I just thought I would, take something out and kind of drop some Black history knowledge.
Copy. So, let's edit that part out though. What I just said about the birthday.
No, you good, brother. Don't get me wrong. It was something great on your birthday too in Black history.
Outside the fact that this man came into the world.
Let's close it out, fellas. Final thoughts.
Well, for me, like I said, knowledge is consumed, wisdom is dispensed, but there's something in between them two. Is understanding. So if you don't have understanding of the knowledge, you're never going to dispense the wisdom out from it.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. We can't have the convenience of success without the inconvenience of change.
Hey man, and I'll just wrap it up, man. I think Sharaj talked about earlier about how the journey to success is not a straight line, twists, turns, potholes, etc. Beautiful thing about what we're talking about, man, is really moving past the intimidation of that truth, right? Not needing to necessarily have it all mapped out and know how, because your values serve as your compass. Your values serve as your compass.
That's how
you can get lost. You can get lost in the sauce. You can get lost in that fog, man. Not being able to see 5 steps ahead, but your compass will guide you 1, 2, 3 steps at a time. And guess what? You take that consistently every day, you're gonna get to where you need to go. This is the Brothers in Influence podcast, where we stand to encourage, inspire, and add value in the areas of life, leadership, and community. This was another great episode, season 2, episode 4. We are out.
Holla.